if queuing ever became an Olympic sport, just give us a gold medal now. There's no point in the rest of you. You'd only be hurting yourselves. Only one of us would be having a good time if we did queuing. Only one country would be like, brilliant, here we go. Yeah.
Yes, I think the British biathlon would be queuing combined with aggressive understatement, and you guys would just walk away with every single medal on the podium. It's just be the British flag
Yes.
everywhere.
And if it's a triathlon, then you can throw in sarcasm along with that as well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special relationship where we talk about UK and US politics and little bits of other stuff too. My name's Matt Johnston. I'm from the UK, you can probably tell by the accent, and I have a show called The Interesting Times, in which I look at UK politics. And from the US, it's Andrea Bridges-Smith, who has a channel called the Phoenix News Network, with an F, obviously.
Hello, everybody.
Right, Andrea, I've no doubt we're going to get sick of talking about Trump and JD Vance, the butthead and butthead of US politics. But let's be honest, that time isn't now, is it? So come on, please tell us what's happening at the moment.
Well, the big news over here is that the Democratic National Convention is going on this week, and it is trying to set a record for lengthiest applause breaks. Everyone is very fired up, and there have been some excellent zingers at Trump's expense. I recommend going and checking all of them out. I think my favorite so far was this one from Jamie Raskin, who seems to be a little bit worried about J.D. Vance's safety.
J.D. Vance, do you understand why there was a sudden job opening for running mate on the GOP ticket? They tried to kill your predecessor.
So the context of that is that, on January 6th, when Trump was trying to overthrow democracy. There were the hang Mike Pence chants going on outside, and he didn't really say, no, don't do that. He just kind of was like, somebody did, So yeah, I think that's the context there is Jamie Raskin going, hey, do you want to be that guy? That's what's in store for you.
Yeah.
So at the convention, there's been a parade of presidents, past and present. That's fun to say. Joe Biden started out Monday by being up way past his bedtime to give what turned out to be something of a farewell speech, even though he's got several more months in office. Everybody was kind of like, thanks for dropping out. We love you for dropping out. And, Matt, I have to say, I think if we decided to pack it in and they threw us a ticker tape parade, I would find that to sting a little bit.
Yeah. That's a strange sort of goodbye, isn't it? Really, it's not thanks for the 4 years you were running things. It's just thanks for not attempting to run things for the next 4 years.
Right. It's like thank you for leaving our party. Thank you for exiting. Thank you for driving away from our house. It's not the nicest. So then the Obamas showed up and they blew the doors off the place. They do this thing, it's a roll call vote. And so they have the delegates from every state and territories. And, that's when we remember like, oh, right, the British Virgin Islands or the American Virgin Islands. We both have some Virgin Islands, don't we?
There we go. Do they get announced and then they come into rapturous applause? Is that what you're talking about, the applauding and stuff?
No, that's kind of more for the speakers, although the roll call vote did turn into like a big party. So they had a DJ and they were playing music from like each state, basically, and everybody was all fired up, and it totally turned into a dance party. I think that was a really fun way to do it. So definitely recommend next time you have a long, boring roll call vote, don't be afraid to have fun with it, you guys.
Absolutely.
And then in Milwaukee, which is just a bit north of Chicago, while this was going on, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were having a rally, and they were having it at the same stadium where they had the Republican National Convention last month. And that stadium was filled to the rafters. So was the stadium at the convention center. So 2 giant stadiums filled with people who were just excited and happy. It's been kind of a fun week for people who like progress.
Yeah, that is good news. I'm a little confused. Are you saying that the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz thing was on the same night as the saying goodbye to Joe Biden thing?
That was last night. So Monday night was Adios Joe Biden. Last
Okay,
night was the Obamas, but they were like, we're going to go and have a rally, to talk to all the people who aren't at the convention. So tonight, actually, Tim Walz will be speaking. Tomorrow night, Kamala Harris will be giving her big speech.
right.
So Austin and I are going to a watch party for that. Should be really fun. But yeah, it's they figured, oh well, as long as we're nearby, let's go see if we can fill up that stadium too. It was a little bit of a poke at Donald Trump.
Excellent. I mean, yeah, I get it now. So one is like New Year's Eve, the other's New Year's Day, sort of thing. Yeah, Christmas Eve, Christmas. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, kind of all happening at the same time. And then, speaking of the crowd sizes, Obama had a fun zinger where he was talking about how Trump is obsessed with his crowd sizes. And he made
yeah.
this motion with his hands like he was making a, tiny penis joke. Really, really good stuff there. I like that we snuck that in.
Lovely, lovely. Well, over this side, actually, continuing with the US theme, although not big news actually from this side of the water, I did spot something written in one of the papers here, and it said that there's a new biography on the Queen that's come out, and it says that she thought Trump was very rude.
Can you even imagine?
I mean, I know, right? Anyways, it says she disliked the way he always looked over his shoulder as if looking for something or someone more interesting, just, yeah.
Well, she has those cute little corgis. Maybe he was looking for those. I don't know.
And funny enough, you didn't see much of them either, did you, when he was around? But there we go.
Right.
All right. She also couldn't understand why Melania was still with him. She said that they must have some sort of arrangement. Otherwise, why would she stay? But I don't know. Melania always looks so happy in those photos, right?
Yes, she is the very picture of a smitten bride, isn't she?
So that's what the Queen thought. But as for Trump's part, can you guess how he thought the meetings went?
Oh, well, if it's past behavior is any indication of, how he would respond, I'm guessing it's something like, and the Queen came to me, tears in her eyes, never seen anything like it. And she said, "Sir, you're the bestest person who has ever lived in the whole wide world."
Yeah,
That,
pretty much. Actually, that's pretty spot on. He actually said that he was confident. Wow. I mean, you can't take away his confidence, right? But no matter what the facts show,
nope.
but never mind. Yes, he said that he was confident that he had been her favorite guest ever.
I mean, to watch leave, maybe, but.
I mean, the Queen has, as the nature of the job entails, she has had to meet some pretty nasty, horrible leaders. Idi Amin, Emperor Hirohito, Bashar al-Assad, Robert Mugabe, and of course, Vladimir Putin. So for her to pick out Trump, and that lineup takes some beating.
Well, I mean, we do have to say he hasn't directly committed a genocide yet. So, he's got that going for him. I mean,
Yeah.
give him a minute, he could. But, he, as far as I know, hasn't directly done one. Now, Matt, I have to ask you if you saw Trump's press conference last week that he did in front of a bunch of groceries.
Is that your new name for the GOP?
No, I would not use something that nice to talk about them. So the idea was this was Trump's big effort to relate to the common man and discuss, kitchen table economics. So his staff went out and they bought a bunch of groceries, a thing which I am sure he has never had to do himself in his whole entire life. And then they set them up on these tables behind him. And he comes out with a binder and starts reading directly from the binder about how high prices are on groceries. And you can tell his advisors were like, okay, so just this once, just say the thing that we wrote down and that's it, okay? And he started off doing that, and then he just gleefully ignored that advice at the end. And all the while, there's some sausages just going bad in the sunshine right behind him.
Oh, well, I'm sure there's an irony to that as well.
Yes, I'm sure. If anyone cares to look for it, it can be found. And, the best part of this thing was this is his big effort to connect with the common man, talking about how everyday items are so expensive. And it was staged, are you ready for this? In front of the golf club that he owns. Not the club that you hit the ball with, but the entire golf course. Just very relatable, this guy.
Thinking about it, they did something similar with Boris Johnson, but it was the press attempting to try to catch him out by asking him how much things like bread and milk costs. Fair to say Johnson billboarded his way through, but clearly didn't have a clue about anything. I mean, still doesn't, to be fair.
I bet he also doesn't know how much condoms cost.
I think you're right, yes. Oh, and you'll love this, Andrea. It seems we are sending you our best men. One, Nigel Farage is going back to the US, where he went only last month, and he's going to talk at something called the Keep Arizona Free Summit. I've never heard of it. But anyway, I'm not sure what they're keeping free, but it's not Nigel Farage, who has already pocketed a £12,000 deposit for the speech. Nice work if you can get it, right? Yes. Meanwhile, the good people of Clacton, a particularly poor part of England, where he is still the MP, they are struggling with paying for food and energy while he picks up 50 grand a month on top of his MP salary. He is currently the highest paid MP in the country. I would say it's shameful, but clearly this man knows nothing of the word.
Now, Matt, I had to look this summit up, and one of the things that they seem to want freedom from is immigrants, which makes a foreigner coming in to be the keynote speaker a bit of a sticky wicket, as you guys would say, no?
Yes. Oh, good phraseology there. Yes. Yes, I suppose it's all about being the right sort of speaker.
Yes, very specific qualifications for the speakers there. Now, Matt, I read an article that says a quarter of Brightons think that they could qualify for the Olympics. So I am curious, which sport do you think you could do in the next Olympics if you put your mind to it and started training now?
Well, firstly, let me say I love the positivity of the Brits on this one. It's not something we're particularly renowned for, let's be honest, but that's probably the reason that we are third on the list of countries of all-time Olympic medal hauls, behind Russia and, well, you guys obviously top of the list. But I reckon this story has come out of that Turkish fella. You remember the guy shooting the gun like that with the other hand in his pocket? You remember that one?
Yeah,
and everybody's like, that guy's an assassin. I mean, people saw him kill Lucy Cucumber and thought, how hard can it be?
I am from Texas, so that is exactly what I thought.
Yeah, good point. But in answer to your question, I reckon archery might do it for me. I am short-sighted, so the target's a few hundred meters away, so that would be perfect, right? But I also spotted this, Andrea. Do you know how old the oldest person at the Paris Olympics was?
Yeah, I heard about this. It's like somebody in their 60s, isn't it?
Correct. It's a Spanish horse rider with the most Spanish-sounding name I've ever heard. Here we go. Juan Antonio Jimenez Cobo, who is 65 in Paris, over 8 years older than me. So forget 2032. I'm going to be training for 2036, wherever it's going to be. That will give me an extra 4 years, I do have to say, though, that it's a shame that breakdancing hasn't made it as an Olympic sport, because my kangaroo's pretty good,
I am definitely going to need to see some video of that. And in fact, I would pay good money for video of that. So you just post that whenever you're ready.
I'm afraid you'll just have to take my word for it. So what about you, Andrea? What sport would you go for?
I mean, my knee-jerk reaction as a Texan is that shooting thing. I think I'd probably be pretty good at that. But I think the equestrian stuff would be cool too, because the horse does all the hard work. And then you get to hang out with a horse, which I realize now makes me sound even more Texan than I already did before. So
it is a shame that they don't combine the two. Maybe for that reason. You guys have won enough medals. They're like, no, we're just, honestly, it's the Texans, they'll just walk away with it each time.
Exactly. Yeah. Shooting and horse riding, if you can do both of those things at the same time, it's difficult because, there's a lot of bouncing and, it's.
For the British, it occurred to me that I suppose queuing, if queuing ever became an Olympic sport, just give us a gold medal now. There's no point in the rest of you. You'd only be hurting yourselves. Only one of us would be having a good time. if we did queuing. Only one country would be like, brilliant, here we go. Yeah.
Yes, I think the British biathlon would be queuing combined with aggressive understatement, and you guys would just walk away with every single medal on the podium. It's just be the British flag
Yes.
everywhere.
And if it's a triathlon, then you can throw in sarcasm along with that as well.
I like this. I would watch this Olympics. Why can't we have this? Matt, we need to start our own Olympics, okay? We're on to something.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be good stuff.
I'll tell you what, we're laughing, but I'm sitting here now thinking, that's actually a very good idea.
You could sell tickets to that. I mean, it would be good. We should try it.
Yeah.
Who do we know? If there's any Olympic type organizers in the fans section, please comment. Let us know. We'll get some things in motion. It'll be good.
or people with lots of money that would like to invest in it, or people with large fields that would like to put it on. That'd be wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what we need.
Basically doing all the work for us.
Fields. Yes.
Yeah.
Money, fields, doing all the work for us. Yes. That's not too much to ask, is it?
You'd think not. By the way, what would be the third one? Because we already know that shooting and horse riding would be the two Texan things. What would be the third one?
Making nachos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't think you'd have a bit of competition from south of the border then?
I mean, we would, and we would gleefully lose to them because they're great. Like, Matt, I know that the UK is not known for its Mexican food.
Not a whole heap.
No. And I just want to convey with every fiber of my being how great Mexican food is. It is the best. It is the one kind of cuisine that I could eat all day, every day, and never get tired of it. Mexican food, best food in the world. At some point, not in August, because it is hot as hell right now and you would die, and I like you and I want you to stay alive. But at some point you got to come over here, and I'm just going to take you on a tour of various Mexican restaurants. We'll do interior, we'll do Tex-Mex, we will do all the styles, and you're going to be so, so happy just from a culinary perspective.
Lovely. That sounds, sign me up. I'm in for it. Absolutely. Even my sort of somewhat vanilla British palate, I'm sure, would just kind of explode, kind of, whoa. You then realize I've got to go back to cheese on toast after then, right? Yes.
Well, we will, we'll have to send you home with a jar of salsa or something that you can dump on everything when you get back.
That sounds like a good plan. I like that plan.
Let's do it. All right, guys, that is all the time that we have for today. We are going to take a little break for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to be back. But we know that you will be lonely without us. So in the meantime, you can head over to @TheInterestingTimesUK on YouTube for more from Matt. You can go back and watch every episode he's ever made. That's an excellent way to spend your time. I will be back on Friday with a recap of the Democratic National Convention. And until then, goodbye, everyone.